So we're going to go with Rough Cats. Rough Cats.
Rough Cats?
I am trying... Dude... I have tried so hard not to be the Rich Evans of this podcast, and I have failed miserably. That was my only goal, was not to be the Rich Evans of this podcast, and I've already fucked it.
Welcome to Rough Cuts, everyone.
The movie review podcast where we talk about good boys in bad movies.
Oh yes, so I'm Boyks. That's Ilyon, by the way.
Yes, you're Boyks. I'm Ilyon. I want to talk about the fact that I love my country because weed is legal and they banned Cop Dog. That's a good thing. That's true. I'm very happy that this is the way that my country is organized. Because Cop Dog shouldn't exist. This movie doesn't deserve to see the light of day. Oh... But, I mean, weed's good.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong about either of those things, to be fair. So, let's just jump right into Cop Dog. So,
sure.
Real quick, Cop Dog actually had an alternate title, which is Marlowe. And then they decided, we need to sell this. Uh-oh. So... Obviously, they changed.
Oh God, we made it. Oh God, we made a tragedy horror movie, and it's marketed to children. Change the name. Can we make it cuter? Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah, that's what happened.
They changed the title, changed the cover, make it look like a kids' movie. Anyways, we start off with an opening scene. We're at a K9 unit B-roll of a bunch of dogs and cops running them through, like, obstacles, I guess, because they had somewhere to shoot that was doing that.
Yep, this was, as I mentioned when we were talking about on the podcast, when we were watching the film, was Shoot the Rodeo. They had a local event, and they used it. That's a lot of what this film is. There's about 4 locations in this film, right? I don't think there was more than 4.
4 sounds right. So a lot of these lower budget films tend to just shoot where they have available, and then they try to fill it with B-roll of other things that are happening in their, like, town that they're shooting in. In this case, I guess they might be real police dogs. It's a little tough to say. It could be just some random dog, like,
they were
trainers.
not. Those were not police dogs.
Those were very adorable dogs.
They were adorable dogs. They were not.
They were not.
The policemen in the scene were in, like, Halloween costumes. Like, they were in ill-fitting Halloween costumes. I'm pretty sure it was just, like, the local dog show, and then they gave them, like... They had mostly what it was is they had, like, hats on that said K9.
Oh, yeah, K9 unit, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that it was just, like, the local dog show, and then they said, hey, can you wear these, and then you'll be in our film, and that's basically what that was.
Yeah.
Like, they got the local dog show, and then they made them wear a couple of K9 hats, and that was, there you go, intro to film. Boom, got them.
So, we got cut from the B-roll of K9 units doing fun dog things, and immediately go to the cemetery, where we learn that the main character's dad has very much died.
I wanna pause from that though, because in that though they also had the pound, right? So they have, like, all of these sad dogs?
Yeah. Oh, you're right.
So,
they were taunting the dogs.
The sad dogs. Yeah. So while they're doing the dog show, they keep hard cutting back to these dogs in, like, these filthy cages that are watching the show and watching, like, the dogs get treats and stuff, and they're all sad because they can't be outside experiencing love and warmth.
Step away from that dog, though. That's the one that's gonna open its face and eat the other dogs. Jesus.
That's why their dog looks so sad right now, is because he knows that it is two doors down. The thing is 2 doors down.
Yeah.
And it's
it was so
that's
sad.
where we first see our main character. That's where they keep police dogs that have dead partners. They just let them,
they just keep them outside.
They let them, like, while away in these filthy cages. It was horrible. And then hard cut to the cemetery. And it's jarring, to say the least.
Yeah,
back and forth.
Whiplash is this movie, like, in a nutshell, but we'll get there.
We'll talk a little more about that, yeah.
So we're at the cemetery. The kid, named Robbie, his dad's dead. They're crying. And then him and his mom have some argument about his dad's hat going missing for some reason.
Yeah, and they have a wonderful Polaroid picture on the grave. Like, there's just this Polaroid that's, like, taped to the grave, but it's almost made to look like it's supposed to be engraved on it or something, like it's permanent. But it's just a Polaroid taped. It's pretty amazing.
We go from the cemetery back to the kennels, where J. Jonah Jameson from Spider-Man is telling us that they're about to retire one of the dogs.
Yes,
Which, I think we know what that means.
Yeah, they go... He looks at our main character, and he goes, well, you're not allowed to take him home. We retire these dogs. Which is an amazing euphemism.
Yeah. But one thing that's important that we forgot is this dog also was the dead dad's dog.
Oh, yes.
Which was a cop dog. And that's very important, because that's how we know it's a cop dog.
Yeah, so when a partner dies that has a dog, they let the dog live in a filthy kennel without the light of God or the sun for a year, and then they retire it. Like, that's the start of our kids' film. Yeah. Welcome everybody to Cop Dog.
Yeah. So they have the argument with the kid and the mom, like in every dog movie, about, I want to take this dog. Well, I don't know if we can have a dog. Well, I like this dog, and it was Dad's dog. Well, okay. And then they take the dog. So we're at the point where we are at... This is all within, like, 3 minutes of the movie, by the way. We have met the dog and added it to the family. And the main character's dad has died.
So we've established dead dad. We've had the entire scene of, Mom, can we keep him? No. And, like, that argument resolved in 10 seconds. Yeah. And, like... It's like they're doing Checklist the movie. Like, they're just going through and just like, okay, dad dead, dog, yeah, okay, she can't keep him though. Okay, well, alright, done that, checked, yeah, we had that thing. And it just goes through, and like you said, it's 3 minutes in, and we're already just like going through this breakneck pace. It's incredible.
So they bring the dog home, and a bunch of extremely adorable dog things happen. The dog takes a shoe, the dog steals some coffee filters. They make a joke about dogs drinking coffee for some reason.
And then immediate hard cut to, like, wacky dog hijinks, and then instant hard cut to, like, them following the dog as it carries out a coffee filter, and it's sitting there in, like, this tragic lighting, like, lit from above, looking at the uniform of the dead dad in the closet, and it just goes to, like, this somber music out of nowhere. And you're like... What is happening? Like, wacky dog hijinks for 5 seconds. And then 5 seconds later, dead dad, all the actors crying, dog staring at it longingly. It's like, whoa, okay.
Can you imagine the script at this point, though? So, the dog enters the scene. Very sad. Slowly walks up to the closet. Light appears from up top. Almost a heavenly glow on the wonderful... full body fucking outfit of the dead dad. And the dog cries. And then the kid and the mom come in, and now they're crying. It's very sad. And then we're in hijinks mode, back with some...
Yeah. Well, it hard cuts again to... doesn't it immediately hard cut, I think, to the Cryptid Dad?
Oh yeah, there's a Cryptid
That's
Dad.
Cryptid Dad right afterwards.
Fucking Cryptid Dad, okay.
At least she's still here. I mean...
Yeah.
Isn't that better than being gone?
Like my dad?
Yeah, but it's not like living. I mean, if they don't resolve...
Who's this fucking guy?
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Like, who's this girl and who's this guy?
I think the girl's a sister, but it wasn't
Where's your trip, Arthur?
explained.
Actually, I'm getting ready to go tomorrow morning.
I put it down as Cryptid New Dad.
Deb.
They're watching, he's doing the uniform. He's looking at the uniform, it's sad, and then... boom, suddenly we're looking at, like, a guy holding photos. And he goes, see, you can see her outline here, but not in this next photo. And it's like, wait, what? And it's Dad explaining ghosts to the kids at the table, but it's like,
but it's not the dead dad. It's some other dad, and it's not explained. There's just a dad.
I still have no idea who that is.
I have no fucking clue.
They called him Arthur, and then later on they use him for two specific plot points. They use him to introduce the idea of ghosts.
Oh, by the way, there's ghosts in this movie. In case you were unaware.
Well, because of listen, cops are all ghosts, obviously.
Oh my god. Well, at least the ghosts aren't a fucking snitch.
This dog is a horrible snitch. And
okay, right, so we have Cryptid Dad introduce the concept of ghosts existing and photos, and then immediately disappears.
And it instantly is just gone. Like he talks about like, oh well, like there must be a ghost in this, and then they go, he's wacky. And there's a girl at the table too, who's a main character of the film that we found out later is his daughter, but it's never explained if it's.
Well, it's questionable if it's his daughter, or if they're neighbor, or if they're
No, it says that... No, he says, look after my little girl.
Okay.
He says, look after my little girl, so I'm pretty sure that's the daughter.
There's a deep, dark storyline about why he's saying to look after his little girl. Ooh.
I mean, based on what they have as the second plot point that he introduces, yeah, that might be true.
Yeah, this movie has a dark past. So anyway, we cut from Cryptid Dad to our two bumbling, Home Alone idiot crooks. So these two idiots killed the main character's dad and then stole his hat because they just really thought it was cool.
Yeah, his very obvious cop uniform.
Yeah.
They just wander around wearing, like, his cop hat and nobody notices or says anything.
So they established at this point that the two bumbling idiots from Home Alone, Marv and... Oh god, what's the other guy's name? It's very clearly those. But anyway, they're played by Dennis Leary. The Wet Bandits. The Wet Bandits are played by Dennis Leary and Rob Schneider in this film. And they establish that they have a taser, which we're assuming how they killed the dad. I guess? So after the bumbling idiots, there's like some plot about a pillow getting ripped or something, and then they have the dog track down the kid because the mom's awful.
Yeah, it just shows them with the hat for like 5 seconds, and then hard cuts back to more wacky dog hijinks where he's chewing up the couch, and the kid walks in the door, sees this, goes, "Marlo, no!" and then like looks
fucking
over,
runs away.
Yeah, he looks out the front door and sees the mom coming in, and he just bails on the dog. Like, he's like, well, this isn't my problem, and just like bolts out the back door as fast as possible. And that was my note, was kid bails on dog, and I was like, wait, what is this note from? And I can remember that now, that yeah, he just runs as fast as he can into the woods away from this dog, and then the mom sullenly goes, oh well, you better find this boy, and grabs like a shirt that he has and has the dog snitch on him.
Yeah.
So we've already established
that dog is a snitch.
Yeah, we established that Marlo is indeed a cop and that he snitches on this boy immediately and tracks him down in the woods for the mom.
So more importantly than the mom punishing the kid with this dog that's obviously a snitch and should never be trusted. Right after that, the dog falls in love with another dog that has bows on it, so you know it's a girl dog, and runs away. And then apparently they shag or something?
Yes.
I guess?
Well, it just kind of hard cuts away. It just shows them like outside. He gets caught by mom and dog, and then another dog comes in with pink bows, and he just runs off after it. And they go, oh no, Marlo! And they chase after him, and that's end scene. Like,
I'm so confused by that. Like, it's not uncommon for these types of kids movies to be like dog and girl dog. Like, you know.
Well, sure, yeah. Like they have like very obvious like
you need
gender
to set
coding.
It up. You can't just have girl dog run away. Like, that's a thing that's in a movie, but you can't just put it in your movie. You have to have a fucking reason.
And like, well, then the scene just ends. Like, that's just it.
Well, thankfully it ends, and then we get back to the dad being dead.
Yeah, and then, well... This is why this movie is whiplash. Because we have wacky dog hijinks of him chasing down girl dog and them going like, oh no, like chasing him after him into the woods.
Yeah.
And a hard cut of this kid and the sister friend.
Sister friend?
Sister friend, I think is the best way to describe
Did they even
this.
name her? I don't even remember.
I
honestly
Debbie?
don't remember what her name was.
I don't remember. She was the best actress in the film, by far.
Yeah,
But,
she's going places.
She actually was good. She was good.
Yeah.
But I felt so bad for her in this movie. She didn't deserve this.
So this scene where the dad is dead again, or still
Well, that's
dead,
why I was saying
but they
it's
have
whiplash.
to keep telling us, is at the scene of a closed well, which is apparently where the dad died. So the kid keeps coming back to this spot, not just because they only had 4 spots to actually shoot from, and this was already on location for one of the other spots they're going to shoot at later, but also...
Which you can see in the background the entire time.
But also, because it's very important that we know that his dad is still dead.
And then it immediately goes back to, like, somber when the guys show up. So then you immediately have the criminals show up, and they hide, like, spy versus spy style behind a tree in the most, like, awkward way possible. And the dog sees them and chases them down. And then gets immediately plastered by a car. So we go from wacky dog hijinks, dad dead, wacky dog hijinks, dog dead. In the span of a minute and a half?
How fast is this dog?
What?
What's... Yeah, even the fucking actor's like, what? Excuse me? This truck's gotta be going like 60.
What? What?
Oh.
My God.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
Oh.
Okay, so it's been 15 minutes in the film.
Yes.
The dad's dead. They got a dog. The dad's
We've
dead.
learned the dad's dead.
They
Dad's
still
dead.
have a dog. The dad's
Dad's
dead.
dead.
The dog's dead.
I shouldn't be laughing at this.
15 minutes into this.
It's really graphic too.
fucking
Like they
movie.
show the dog corpse on the ground.
I wrote down "stay hydrated," Bob, but I don't
Yeah,
remember
that's what I
why.
I know why they did, because when he
Yeah.
runs over... Okay, so the reason why you need to stay hydrated, kids, is because that's how you save your dog.
Oh,
because
yeah,
when
the
the
kid kept
dog
saying,
gets
"Get
hit,
water."
he starts yelling, "Get water!" for the dog.
Oh, kid, that's not
and
how you
it's-
save a dog.
It's
Oh,
real awful.
It's real bad.
And it's
That scene
it's
is
super,
awful.
It's super tragic, and like I shouldn't be laughing at this, but I don't know how else to respond to it because they show the dog corpse basically on the road. Like this is a G film comedy movie for children.
I think it's PG because of the dog getting hit by a
no,
car.
no, it's
Isn't
G.
it?
It's
Oh,
G.
geez.
It had it on the front. Yeah, no,
Oh,
it's
gee.
oh, G.
So anyway, after Marlowe's very clearly dead, they immediately cut to burying the dog and having I guess they just have a burial ceremony for the dog, like immediately put up a cross, like everybody's sad. They give the kid a magic whistle.
It hard
and then...
yeah. It once again hard cuts. It basically hard cuts to them putting the stake in the ground, and there's a cop there, like J.K.
Rowling, yeah.
J.K. Rowling.
Yeah.
I've tried really hard not to be the Rich Evans of this podcast,
J.K.
like
Rowling,
I said, but
puts
J.
the
Jonah
freaking sorting
Jameson
hat on the fucking grave and determines that Marlowe's a Hufflepuff. Yes,
I may have gotten slightly mixed up between J.K. Simmons, J.K. Rowling, and J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, there's
fine. Too many J's for me. But yeah, that cop is there and gives the kid magic whistle.
So the magic whistle's real important to the story. So what's interesting about this movie is that the director is actually a horror director. Well, mostly horror, but also horror if you include a Hulk Hogan Christmas movie as a horror film. because he also did that.
I would
I think it was
that.
Santa muscles. That sounds
It's
right.
Santa with muscles.
Santa with muscles.
Yes.
I don't know why he would get seafood though. That seems weird. Anyway, so Santa with muscles director.
Well, hold up. No, you don't. No.
So Santa with muscles.
I'm putting a hard cut on this podcast that's the last time that you can do something like that. You can't keep getting away with this.
You're gonna have to muscle me out of it because I'm doing it.
We are going to call Marlo as the cop dog to arrest you. I don't know.
Anyway,
Ghost whistle
happens. So there's some really interesting scenes in this movie of like spooky wind and wind chimes, clinking, and
fog machine out in the woods,
fog machines. And so the boy blows the whistle that he got from the cemetery from J.K. Rowling, and
it's
the third time he'd blown the whistle since he got it in about 30 seconds, and that causes a spooky jump scare of Marlo reappearing as a ghost behind him to happen.
Yeah, and he gets scared of the dog and then just like runs inside and covers himself under the covers.
And that's the end of that scene. It's great.
So, do you think that they were being clever when they named the dog Marlo because it's a ghost?
Is that clever? I don't. What is
like?
I mean,
like Christmas Carol, like, isn't it Marlo? Or no, it's Is it Marley?
I don't think
It's Bob Marley. That's
you're thinking of Bob Marley, the famous singer,
Marley,
reggae singer.
Or no, no. Okay, like, hold a minute. What is the name of his? I don't know why I said Bob Marley. Shut up. Shut up. No. But like, what's the name? Like Bob. Yeah, and then that is actually by far, like, that scene is good. Really competently shot, yeah.
Like, if that was in a horror movie, it would be perfect.
It's really weird how competent those scenes are compared to everything else. Yeah. Because some of the things that we're skipping over is, like, during these scenes, I don't want to get too technical in this podcast, but, like, I'm a photographer, so I kind of notice these things. It's hard for me not to. And, like, they have a depth of field that makes no sense. Like, basically, it's all filmed as if it should all be in close-ups, where everything else, like, there's one very, very small focal point where there's one thing in focus, and everything else is super blurred out and, like, really, really far away almost. Like, it's strange. And it's super shaky the whole time. And then all of a sudden, you get these horror scenes, and it's very competent. Like, it's not great. You can tell that it's on a budget, but, like, they have really nice fog. Like, they have a good setup of, like, the wind chimes and, like, this little bit of suspense where you don't know what's happening. They have good shots of, like, wind going through and blowing leaves, and, like, then the trees are all shaking. And it's really well done. Like, the trees, I don't know how they filmed it. They must have gotten it in a really good storm, because, like, the trees are rocking. Like, they do a really good job of, like, picking the right location and having it really well shot at night. Like, it's well lit despite being at night, and you can tell that it's still night. Like, it's not day for night. Like, it's not that weird kind of day for night thing. It's well shot and looks really good. And then the rest of the movie is just all weird shaky cam when it's close-ups even. Like, it'll be close into somebody, but it'll constantly vibrate a little bit. Like, it's somebody that's trying to hold the camera steady.
I mean,
because they don't have a tripod.
Somebody with, like, a home camera running around.
Yeah, like, they don't have a tripod to put it on. Like, they don't have, like, some kind of rig for it. Like, it's just somebody holding it. So it's always just kind of shaking just a little bit. And it's so weird to see this scene pretty well done. Like, not amazing, but more than competent. And then the rest of the movie is just such a disaster. Well, and it's wild.
Well, thankfully, that extremely competent shot is followed up immediately by the sister friend person coming back over to the house with Robbie, who now knows about a ghost dog, Marlo, and informing Robbie. Well, she's kind of, like, poking fun at him because he's, like, trying to hide the ghost dog that's obviously there in very awful way. And she's, like, making fun of him by telling him that her dad had a nervous breakdown and had to be sent to a mental hospital.
And here we are with plot point number 2 for our earlier Cryptid Dad.
Yeah, Cryptid Dad is... What?
Cryptid Dad is there to introduce 2 plot points. A, that ghosts are real, and B, that if you believe in them, you should be sent to a mental asylum.
So that's immediately thrown away. Nobody cares about that plot point anymore.
Well, they do, because they bring up, was it Withering Pines?
Oh, yeah, they
or
bring
Whispering
it up. He's
Pines?
like, I'm not going to that. Like, it's very clearly there's this background of this mental hospital.
Yeah,
It's
they have,
so
like,
weird.
an actual brochure out for the mental hospital on the table while they're talking about this. And she looks over at it and she goes, oh, yeah, my dad went there. He was there for a long time, kind of thing. And then
so
they bring it
dark.
up again later because of the invisible dog. So he's trying to hide the invisible dog from the girl. And she goes, like, what are you doing? I guess that, oh, you're having a nervous breakdown. My dad did, too. He went to the mental asylum. And then he goes, no, it's an invisible dog. It's Marlowe. He's a ghost now. And she goes, yeah, right. And just rolls with it instantly. Like, there's no, like, oh, well, let's have him move something. No, there's no scene like that. They don't bother with that at all. She's just instantly like, my dad believes in all that.
Sense.
Sounds good. Yeah, it makes sense. Perfect sense, sure.
So now that they have a poltergeist dog, the 2 kids have decided to solve the crime of Robbie's dad's murder.
And we get a montage.
We get a
that
montage
lasts for one scene.
1 second.
One
I wouldn't
frame.
even say
One
one
frame.
scene.
Yeah, sorry, I meant one frame. I meant one frame. It starts montage music, and a book falls, and then it cuts. And you're like, wait, what? Because you expect it to start some kind of montage with the way they set it up, but it's just incompetently done. Later on, you kind of get it. It's their chapters, I guess, of the movie, where they use, like, the Hardy Boys knockoff covers to bring in different
They never really,
acts.
like, realized what they were doing with that. They just thought it was clever. They
just kind of... They tried. There's a lot of they tried in this movie.
Yeah.
So they kind of throw that in there for, like, half a second, and then it immediately hard cuts again. So we get, like, 1 second frame of, like, a little bit of a sound, and then this book falling, and then immediately hard cut to them doing murder mystery solving.
So there's a couple things we didn't mention earlier about our 2 bumbling idiot crooks, which have not been in the film now for another, like, 15 minutes.
No, yeah.
So one of them, the Rob Schneider character, always chews gum, and in every scene they gave him gum to chew, so you very much knew he chewed gum. And he sticks it on a fucking tree, always right next to their hidden stash, which is like a storm shelter that they hide under a bunch of leaves in somebody's random farmyard.
Yes, with a key. Well, hold on. This is important. The key is like 8 inches long. I just want to point that out because it's really, really weird. Like, it's just jarring.
So what's really annoying me about this key too is they made a really, really big point about getting this key from these crooks so that they could prove that they were stealing things and hiding them in that storm shelter. And then it never amounts to anything. They just forget about the storm shelter of shit and film everything else in a storage unit they could buy and rent for the weekend.
Yeah, the storage shelter, like, it
never
comes up.
happens. Nothing matters. It's
they show it a
pointless.
bunch more times. Like, they keep on showing the importance of the key, and
then it just
we'll
doesn't
get into
mean
some
anything.
scenes later on that include the key again. But yeah,
Well, that's
now
right
that I think
next,
about it,
because
there's no
the
payoff
ghost
for that.
dog steals the key so the kid can
Yes.
get it. And then,
Yeah.
like, it's super important item, but they never even, like, resolve that part of the movie. It's just a thing that happens, I guess.
Yeah. So we have a tree that's full of gum. So there's a tree that is absolutely covered in gum. They've got their storm shelter next to it. And these kids are out wandering the woods trying to solve the mystery. And they come across the crooks again. And the crooks go, should we scare the kids? And they decide,
I guess, yeah.
yes, no. Like, one of them decides yes, and the other decides no and runs away. And then we get our second chase scene. There's about 7 chase scenes in this film.
There are so many chase scenes in this movie.
The first one was Marlowe getting hit by the car, where he was running faster than their truck, which was pretty great. Because that lasted for, like, a good minute or so before he gets hit. It's not worth mentioning because it's just bland, but Yeah, it's
Yeah.
weird. It is a little weird.
Okay, so anyways, the gum tree is important because the kids realize that the gum tree is probably related to the crooks because that's
Boyks?
where they saw them last. So Robbie
Uh-oh.
decides to collect a bunch of gum from the tree. And then after that, the two kids go to a bunch of convenience stores in the area and start buying up gum from every store so that they can later chew the already chewed full of bark and sticks gum and figure out what flavors they are
Yeah.
so that they match.
So at this point in the movie, eventually I told Boyks that I was going to just write cop shit. And then that would just basically cover all of this part of the movie because
But there's so much gum.
There's a lot of gum, but
There's a lot of gum.
It gets really bogged down. To give an idea of how this movie is paced, if you remember, the first 3 minutes of the movie is like, dad's dead, dog gets rescued by family, is bad, becomes good, dad's dead again, cops, criminals are there, dog chases criminals, gets hit by car, dog's now dead. That's the first, 3 minutes of the movie. And then now we have a 10-minute scene of them chewing gum to match.
There's a lot of gum chewing.
So it might be a
they-
little bit wacky paced. I think that there's really even money on whether or not this was filmed later and they decided, oh god, our film is moving way too fast and we need to stretch it out, as you were thinking. And what I
had to have.
Or what I thought, which is, well, I mean, it's even money. I think it could be either. Where they filmed this part of the movie and then they realized they needed some character arc or something, or some background to the characters, and they're like, well, dog, dad dead, checklist, okay, check, do that, and good. That's the beginning of the film. There we go. Now they all have motivations. They filmed the motivations in 5 minutes because, we needed something for the beginning.
So we can elaborate on the cop shit, but I think it's more important to say that they met a crackhead at a convenience store, bought a bunch of gum, and then figured out who Dennis Leary and Rob Schneider were. So let's
Off
move
of
on.
gum. Yeah, that's...
So, yeah. So let's just move on. So after that, Dennis Leary and Rob Schneider go back to their hideout of a storage unit / shed in a farm, which is very elegantly decorated with a single lava lamp and a bunch of cardboard boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Which I thought was great. The kids track them down, Stranger Things style, on bikes. And Robbie calls the police with a candy phone that he bought at the convenience store.
Yeah.
A very obviously candy phone.
He calls the cops and is having a big conversation with Jonah Jameson cop on his gum phone. That's just this big red piece of plastic.
It's so good.
Isn't the shed just full of weird knick-knacky stuff that they stole?
Yeah,
and,
but how would they know it's stolen goods? They didn't tell them that.
Well, but they have this crime spree, don't they?
No, they have a candy phone that has spree in it. That's different. God fucking damn it.
I can't believe you did all that.
The cops come out, and I wanted to say this movie got cop stuff right. Because the cops go there, and then they come back and they're like, they don't do anything. And the kid goes why didn't you do anything? And they go, well, we need probable cause. We can't...
Yeah.
You can't just say that they have stolen stuff. We can't search this or anything. We need some kind of evidence, and, we need cops to gather it. We can't listen to the word of kids. We don't even know why we drove out there. They kind of very clearly are no. You need, a chain of evidence, and you have to watch it, and then we need to find, where the stolen goods are. You can't just simply say that these guys did something, and then we search their stuff and arrest them. That's not how this works. And they set all that up really well. I was like, oh my god, it got something right. This movie did a thing. And then it immediately goes into bullshit
And
again.
then we're immediately reminded that the dad's dead again.
Yes.
So now that the dad's still dead, the mom creepily goes back to the closet that's well lit like angels and smells his year-old uniform clothes that have not been cleaned.
Yeah, they just have this
And
weird
cries?
scene of her, like, smelling all of his clothes and
It's
rubbing
really
them on her.
uncomfortable. Like, it goes on for, like, 20 minutes of her just rubbing this clothes all over her. On the bed, rolling around. It's really fucking
Horrible, tragic music in the background, like this just dark, haunting theme. It's really strange for a G movie.
So after that, the two goons decide to break into the house to get their key back that Marlo the ghost dog ripped out of his back pocket as he was running away from Robbie, who doesn't know what the key is for. So they break into the kid's house, find the room that it's in, which is apparently the dad's old study that was left pristine for a year. And then they steal 3 things from this house. A key, which was theirs, rightfully owned. You could say the kid stole it. They stole a pizza coupon for $1 off at Little Caesars. And they stole a jar of chocolate sauce.
Yeah, the chocolate... oh, God, the chocolate
jam
right?
sauce. It's in a jam jar.
Yeah, so Mom leaves that out. And they have these obvious masks over their heads, but not down over their faces.
They eventually move it down, but it's not really an important scene because nothing happens.
No, because like they set up this whole thing again with the key and the storm cellar, like where they have all the stolen stuff,
which doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, basically that's the last time we see the key. They steal the key back, and then it's gone, and the storm cellar and the key are never seen again. Goodbye.
So after the chocolate jam scene, which is extremely important, there's like a revelation that is revealed to us that today is actually the day that Robbie's dad died 1 year ago. And that's the power of what brought Marlo back to life as a ghost. It was the anniversary of his dad's death. And Marlo's there to help him, even though Marlo died like yesterday. Fuck, they buried that dog so quick. It was like
But this is the most wild scene for me.
It's so weird.
Because they establish that he goes, no, it happened on like a Monday. And she goes, no, it happened 2 days. That's when they found your
2 days
dad's
before,
body.
yeah.
And she goes, he was dead for 2 days. She explains this in
excruciating detail to this like 8-year-old
small child.
Yeah.
Yeah, to like, and it's like, wait, what? And for me, I'm like, this kid did not realize his dad was gone for 2 days. And he had no clue. Like, he just didn't realize it at all. His dad was dead down this well for 2 days. And he was like, nope, that seems normal. And then suddenly, this is the anniversary instead. And Mom immediately goes, well, we should probably send you to that mental hospital. And pulls out the brochure.
Like, legitimately just says, hey, kid, I think you're crazy.
Yeah. She says, it'll just be a scouting mission. We just need to go there. She literally says, this is just a scouting mission. I'm really worried about your mental health.
Yeah.
We need to go to this asylum, like this mental hospital where they lock people away. And her and, like, J.K. Rowling
yes.
Cobb.
Yeah. J.K. Rowling, go on.
J.K. Rowling show up to, like, take this kid away to a mental asylum because he's been trying to solve the crime of his dad's death.
So the kid decides again that they're going to solve the crime of his dad's death, and they decide to sneak into the Goonies farm shed that they're staying in.
How did they even transition that though?
I think they literally just transitioned that.
Yeah, I think that it's just like, we need to take you to the mental asylum, and then he's like out.
Yeah, and then he leaves. He's like, I'm going to solve this.
He's like, no, never mind. I'm just going to solve this, and like leaves.
Yeah,
and then that's
just
just the end
leaves.
of that scene.
Yeah, there's no resolution.
He just goes away.
No.
And then he's with sister friend again, and they're breaking into the guy's hideout.
So they break into the hideout where they're melting like jewelry, and they realize that he has his hat. So they're going to steal the hat and record their conversation to try and get evidence that they stole the items that are in there.
On a tape recorder that has never been seen before in the entire movie.
They just had it.
Where, like,
it's fine.
they just find it on the floor
it's fine.
of this hideout, and he just grabs it and is like, oh no, nope, here, look, we've got a tape recorder. We'll just get them to confess immediately.
So they're hiding behind a bunch of stacked boxes from Goodwill, which have extra costumes that they were using for the movie shoot, that are just thrown around in this shed for no reason, slightly out of view. Actually, not even out of view. It's literally, like, straight shot at the door. There's nothing in between. It's just the boxes. And they're not even, like, in a wall. They're, like, spread out like columns. It's awful. As they're hiding behind that, the kids steal some of the clothes from the Goodwill box, get on top of each other's shoulders, get into a trench coat, wear the dad's hat that they've stolen now, and then wiggle their arms around while making spooky noises to scare the guy, who's Rob Schneider, who is also scared of cryptids and ghosts for some reason, because he reads comic books, I guess. Where'd the hat go?
They're gonna pretend to be the ghost of the dad.
I think they're just gonna get caught.
Yes,
You're so
I'm right!
fucking
I'm right! I'm right!
Fuck!
I'm right! I'm totally right!
Oh my fucking god!
Suck it! Suck it! I'm right! It's a trick.
I am so fucking mad right now.
It's Fiendish Hound.
Oh my god, I'm so fucking mad.
Oh, it is a demon! It's just a trick, Barry! Oh, listen. We didn't want you to die. And besides, what happened was after you fell down the well. See, the only reason that we
So,
Yeah.
so
I wanna
this,
take a
this
brief
waving,
mo-
wacky, inflatable tube man costume is scaring him. As the dog,
It-
the ghost dog jumping through his chest and stealing his soul.
Yeah, the ghost dog jumps through his chest at the end of that
Yeah.
and rips his soul out of his body.
It's so
and he
good.
collapses to the floor unconscious. But I do want to point out for just a brief second that Rob Schneider lookalike is
Yeah.
actually really good in this movie.
I mean,
like, he's terrible, but he's
He's
appropriately
good for
terrible.
Cop Dog.
Like, he knows
Yeah.
he knows exactly what movies he's in. Like, I appreciated him because he elevated all the scenes by just
Yeah.
being so bad. Like, he was miserable, and it made it great to watch him. Every single
Oh
scene
my
he was
God.
in, he overacted to an incredible degree, and I appreciated him for that so much. Because so much of this movie is really bland, but, oh, he was just so buck wild in every scene he was in.
I mean, I
It was
agree.
great.
Rob Schneider is very typically a fantastic actor, and you should see every Rob Schneider movie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I highly recommend
Yeah,
all of them.
highly recommend every Rob Schneider film. After that, obviously their stupid costume falls apart, and Dennis Leary realizes that they're just a bunch of kids stacked on top of each other, waving their arms like idiots. And
I do want to hold
Yeah,
on.
go ahead.
There's one thing that we missed, and it's really important.
all right,
Because when they're scaring the guy, Marlowe briefly appears where the criminals can actually see him.
Yeah, how
because
did that
before that
work?
he's been invisible, and when he shows up, he has demon eyes and fangs and snarls, and like he's got like glowing red eyes, and he's like this demon dog, which is amazing. Because they also established earlier in the film, this is something that we didn't mention.
Oh, yeah,
Cryptid Dad is in a video call for a very brief moment during cop shit, where
Cop shit. Go on.
where he talks about, oh well, yeah, of course there's a dog. The dog is there and is summoned by the whistle. That makes perfect sense. But whenever you summon him by the whistle, he is torn into this corporeal plane in horrible physical agony. And,
Yeah.
like, he manifests on this plane, and all he wants to do is escape and go away. He literally says that. Like, he's like, oh no, like, this is agony for him. He doesn't want to be here.
Oh, no.
This is total pain for him. And we're like, this kid is
you
just
were
summoning a
messing-
demon.
You were messing with demons, my friend. That
He's
dog,
dark
that
powers.
dog had to kill a child to come back. You don't understand, man.
They established that you have to, like, blow the whistle 3 times in, like a
Like
specific
Beetlejuice,
way
yeah.
to, like, like Beetlejuice. Like, there's this whole demon summoning ritual to the dog. And then it actually turns into a literal demon for a moment to scare
Yeah.
this man before it rips his soul out.
Yeah,
And,
which
yeah, so
definitely
we have
happened,
that
yes.
for a moment.
After that, Dennis Leary goes running after the kids outside. They, there's like so many shots out of focus. I don't. What
There's
even
just
happens?
a really, really
What even happens?
clunky
They just
chase
trip him
scene.
and then like handcuff him to the well that Robbie's dad died at. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah, so what happens is he trips and because Marley like jumps at him as he's chasing the girl down with the taser.
Yeah, Bob
and then
Marley.
the
Bob
kid
Marley
had
jumps at him.
grabbed handcuffs from the warehouse because they had those.
Yeah, the crooks just had handcuffs. They must have stolen
They
it
just
from
had
the dead
random
dad,
handcuffs.
right?
And so he handcuffs the guy's ankle and then takes the taser and they have the big showdown kind of thing. And for some reason the cops show up because they have mystical powers and know that the kids are in trouble and know exactly where they are to service as the end of this film. And they're there 5 seconds later to arrest this villain.
And then Marlowe dies.
And then we get the next scene that's important because this kid is a jerk.
Oh, he's an absolute selfish jerk.
He has to... We talked about how Marley's on this physical plane against its will because it's ripped into existence in agony. And it tries to wander away again, which is a scene that we had earlier during Cop Shit that we don't need to talk about.
The Cop Shit, yeah.
Where he wants to get away and the kid keeps summoning him back. And that's why he talks about like, oh no, he doesn't want to be here. And the kid like goes to stop Marley from leaving. And Marley's like whimpering like, please let me go.
Yeah.
And then the kid finally decides like, all right, fine. I guess that I'll let you move on to a happy rest. Then we get a brief shot where Dad pops out from behind a tombstone. Behind a tree, and like waves to the kid, but doesn't like bother to come over and say hi or nothing. And we get a couple of shots of like half of Dad because Dad could not be bothered to actually be there for a full day of shooting, and it's like very obviously different legs and pants and everything. So there's like a different actor that's filling in for him. And then just wanders off into the distance, and there's Dad. Goodbye, Dad.
So obviously they can't end the movie on the dad's dead. So, again...
I mean, they had so much of the movie as the dad's dead. I don't know why they didn't end it there.
So the kid leaves the whistle at his dad's gravestone. So the demon dog Marlowe will never appear again until somebody randomly finds the whistle and blows it 3 times. He's gonna leave the whistle so nobody calls Marlowe ever again. This hellish plane.
All sorts of trouble.
I want to see them like snap the whistle in half and like ghosts fly out all over the place.
Jesus.
Like lightning come down.
And then they have more B-roll of a pumpkin patch party happening at a park nearby where they find some puppies that were not just any puppy. No. Remember Girl Dog with Bows? They're Marlowe's puppy.
Yeah, it's so good.
And then they get Marlowe 2, the adorable puppy, which is probably a golden retriever and not at all Marlowe. It's fine. It's definitely not the 2 dogs that ran off early.
Oh, no.
It's a different
The
dog
puppy is
altogether.
very different. Yeah, the puppy's very... There's no way that puppy is from those 2 dogs.
No.
Not at all. There's no possible
I think that guy
way.
lied to them. I'm like 90%. He's like, oh, we don't know who the father is. Well, it's clearly not Marlowe.
It can't be Marlowe.
So they take the adorable puppy.
This dog's a whore.
Oh my god, you're not wrong. So, okay. That's the end of the movie.
We have no idea who the dad
Cuts the
dog
credits.
is.
We don't know who the dad is, but man, they got a new dog.
I have to give them props. I just want to give them a brief moment where almost everything, besides the storm cellar thing, basically, like, I said that the gum wouldn't come back because they were too incompetent to have a setup and payoff.
Oh, they actually did set that up and paid off.
Basically, everything else was set up and paid off. Like, they had, like, the gum was set up and paid off. The like, even though it was, like, a 5-second scene, like, him chasing after the dog with bow ties was set up and paid off. Most of that stuff actually had payoff, but, yeah, the storm cellar was a very weird oversight.
That was completely pointless.
Oh, yeah.
I have 2 quick facts before we get to our rating at the end of our rough cuts here. So, Billy Unger is the name of the kid who played Robbie in this film. He is also in Crank 2 and National Treasure 2.
What?
In case you were curious.
I didn't do any of this research, so you did this while I was away.
And Kuma is the name of the dog who plays Marlowe. And Kuma is actually a fairly prolific TV movie dog who is in a bunch of different movies, like An American Crime, the movie Wrong, Dog with a Blog, also in a bunch of McBride detective shows, which is probably where they got Marlowe.
Why did they need to do Dog with a Blog? Why couldn't it just be Dog Blog?
The dog
Why
blog.
couldn't it just be Dog Blog? Like, that's way
Bob
better.
Loblaw's
Just
dog blog. They also had Mutton Stuff, and more importantly, and this is what I wanted to point out, that dog, Kuma, is also in a movie called Pups United, which main character dog is voiced by Rob Schneider. And that wraps
What?
the whole fucking thing
There's a
around.
Schneiderverse! There's a
Rob-
Schneiderverse!
So this movie, Cop Dog, and that dog, Kuma, is part of the Rob Schneider dogverse.
Oh, wow. Alright, well, there we go. We have to watch the whole Schneiderverse now.
So there's two dogs in this movie that we actually are introduced to. There's Marlowe and Marlowe 2, which is an adorable puppy.
I'm just gonna need you to stop for a second because I have a joke to make.
Go ahead.
Into the Schneiderverse.
Into the Schneiderverse. How many Schneiders are there? Do you think there's a noir Schneider? A dog Schneider? A hot
There's
dog
definitely
Schneider?
a dog Schneider. There's been a movie where Schneider's been a dog.
That had to have
like,
happened.
there's
Yeah, 'cause
gotta
there is
been
a movie
thing
with
that-
a dog Schneider.
Yeah, there's gotta be a dog Schneider.
There's like
that's obviously
the
a thing.
75 Adam Sandler movie Schneiders, which are all the same Schneider because they don't actually write a character. They just have him be fucking Rob Schneider.
Well, that's why it's the Schneiderverse.
Yeah, Jesus.
Rob Schneider is the center of the Schneiderverse.
The
friend.
Schneiderverse.
He doesn't need to be anything else.
So
He's
we have
Schneider.
two dogs we need to rate. Marlowe. How do you rate Marlowe in this movie? How adorable was this dog in this demonic ghost cop drama gum chewing film?
I will give Marlowe a 10 out of 10 for adorableness. This dog is cute as heck. But a 1 out of 10 for being a damn snitch and finding the kid immediately. When he like ripped up the couch and immediately punished the kid for it instead by like finding him. This dog is a cop and I don't appreciate that. Title is appropriate and that's not okay.
I give Marlowe an 11 out of 10 for being a really good actor and a 1 out of 10 for being an absolute snitch. Marlowe 2, the adorable puppy which has been untainted by the hand of snitching on small children. How do you rate Marlowe 2?
Oh yeah, Marlowe 2 is definitely an 11 out of 10. Marlowe 2 is perfect.
I'd say
No.
I'd say 11 out of 10 as well there.
Yeah, absolutely perfect. Marlowe 2 is the most adorable thing ever. So are we going to rate the film?
No.